Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up.
Hello, this is Shelley. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I want to welcome you to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. This is a re-recording of this week's show because I've been having trouble, probably due to some aspects in the sky, with the recording on Blog Talk. So I thought I would re-record the opening part since the rest of it is okay. I was told in the chat room that it all was clear after the bottom of the hour. So the first part was about what's been coming up for us, and since it's fairly significant, I wanted to tell you. So anyway, we're just going to get right into it. So coming up this week, well, of course, the day before the recording initially began was a full moon, and it was a full moon at 2 degrees Aries. So it is an initiating energy. It is also a culminating energy. So I know that sounds kind of strange, but 2 degrees of Aries is actually the beginning of an energy around assertiveness and males, men, how we look at men in an emotional sense. And that is, moon is emotion, and men are, of course, Aries. It's ruled by the planet Mars. And so we had this full moon in Aries, and a full moon is a culmination energy. It is a completion energy. So there is a lot of story to be told around this. And let me just look at my chart here real quick. So Mars is at the beginning energy of Aquarius. It just moved back in. It had been there earlier in the year, and then Mars went retrograde and went back into Capricorn, which is about the structure of government or an overarching body. It could be a boss, it could be the system, whatever it is. Mars went back into Capricorn, and we had this old story around authority and personal responsibility and what's been going on with that. And I just want to let you know, my daughter's in the background doing some work for school, so I apologize if there's any sound in the background. But anyway, so we've all been dealing with, and this, I mean collectively, we've been dealing with this energy of the story around a system, around a government, around authority, and around men's place within the system. And that's the Mars energy. So Mars retrograded to N degrees of Capricorn and then went back into Aquarius. And Aquarius rules power and personal authority. It's the culmination of the idea of the authority, because again, when you have Capricorn in the first house, the next house, the physical, tangible house of what comes from that, is in the sign of Aquarius. So having had Mars go back into Capricorn as a first house energy, the next energy would be the culmination of it. So now we are starting to see the manifestation of what we've learned and how we can integrate what we've learned into society. As I'm giving this, there are hearings for Kavanaugh, and Christine Blasey Ford is now testifying, and she's on a break for lunch right now while I'm re-recording this. So we have this energy coming in of taking men to task for misbehavior. That's part of the storyline. And at the same time, we have Uranus at 1 degree of Taurus retrograde. So Uranus rules the Aquarian energy that Mars is now in. And the two planets are squaring each other in the sky. So we have this energy of Mars in Aquarius saying, speak up for yourself, do what you need to do, be your own boss, which is entrepreneurship. And that's what Aquarius rules. And we have the other end of it where over the summer we had Saturn retrograde, we had Pluto retrograde, we had Mars retrograde going into one sign, going back into another, and now we have Uranus retrograding back into Aries. And of course Aries ruled by Mars. So for now we are in the energy, at least for one more degree, of the feminine, which is Taurus. Taurus is about growing things. It's about money, and it's about women. It's ruled by Venus. As Uranus goes back into Aries, it will be in the realm of men, but it will also be wrapping up the story, the end degrees, wrapping up the story around the unexpected behavior around the men in society. And that's part of the story for Aries. So there is a very, very strong astrological transit, or transits, plural, and aspects that are all culminating in this storyline. We have Jupiter in Scorpio. Scorpio is assigned to sex and kind of the covert energy of sex, whereas Jupiter in Sagittarius means we will be seeing it out in the public spotlight because the truth will come out, and it will come out in November when Jupiter gets to Sagittarius. So this is all part of a dance of the planets, and as far as my interpretation of it, it is definitely something that is destined energetically for us to live through. It's part of the storyline of the shift and change that is now going on in the world. And so we're seeing all the news stories, and we are definitely in a hyperbolic news cycle with what's going on in the country. And so seeing this go on with Kavanaugh and these women, it's just one of many stories along that line. It's an overarching storyline that will continue to be bubbling up in society. And another one is going to be the church and the same kind of thing, what's going on in the church. That story is probably going to come closer to November when Jupiter goes into the religious and spiritual energy of Sagittarius. And then over the course of the next couple years, we'll see Saturn join up with Pluto. And so Saturn joining with Pluto is the owning and taking responsibility of the deep psychological energy. And that means things that are in the shadows will come out. And it's kind of a process, but there are multiple hits astrologically for what's going on with that. So we have Sun in Libra at 4 degrees, which of course makes it in a trine energy to Mars. And so there's a certain amount of ego, but conceptual energy going on. And conceptual energy meaning that being air signs, both Aquarius and Libra, are about concepts and understanding ideas of things. And so it's what is the idea that we have right now around our integration in society, which is Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius is trying to understand society, and Libra is trying to understand one-on-one relationships. So that can be men and women or any other type of marital situation or spousal situation. We have Mercury at 9 degrees of Libra also, and Monday Mercury was right there on the Sun, but now is at 9 degrees, so moving on. And also Ceres, C-E-R-E-S, it is an asteroid and it rules home and hearth. So there is an energy with the testimony right now of nurturing an idea around growth and women and the growth within society and the culture of growth, because it is about, it can also be about literal agriculture and food But being between the Sun and Mercury right now in the sign of Libra, it is about growth of new ideas, expressing new ideas, and understanding what we are trying to grow with relationships in the sign of Libra. We have Venus at 9 degrees Scorpio, so this is the woman scorned. This is the vindictive woman trying to get back, but it is also female energy and a female sign around sex and around the hidden. So having Venus coming up and approaching Jupiter, that is an expansion of energy around the hidden story of the feminine. Now, Venus will be retrograding. She retrogrades on let's get that date right here. I'm already in the wrong month. So she retrogrades on the 6th of October. So when she retrogrades, she as well will go back into Libra, go back into that sign of cooperation or trying to balance and trying to understand the other. And she will be retrograde until the 16th of November, at which time she goes direct and gets back to Scorpio in December. So just purely on that energy, you can assume that there will be some pulling back or some reevaluating or going back over what the information is that is being given from women, but also what the value of women is. That is what Scorpio tries to do, is understand the value of self to others. And so having Venus in Scorpio, she is now in the realm of understanding what her value is, but going retrograde, she is pulling back and trying to reevaluate where she's been, what it means, and then going back into Libra, she will have to reconsider the partnerships she's made, which are in the realm of spouse, just business partner, or partnering for any other purpose, really. So we'll see more of an understanding of what is given up. And this is kind of a key thing for Libra. Librans, or Libra energy, if you have planets in Libra, they can give up their own desires for the collective good. And I want to say that Capricorn also has an issue with somewhat giving up power, but they give it up because they feel that they are powerless. And in feeling powerless, the negative side of that, we can overcompensate, and that sometimes means that the Capricorn energy comes through as over control or over responsibility. So they both have a different side of that same idea, but Venus in Libra, she's given up herself for the greater good, and Saturn in Capricorn would be giving up desire and ownership of control in your life for the responsible thing to do. So it's not even necessarily an idea, because in Capricorn it's much more tangible. So it's about taking action towards what would be the just or better route for all involved, or knowing things will get done and the work is what's important, and the literal tangible system of the collective idea. So both energies are in square to each other, and they're also opposite Aries. So if you're in Aries, you're feeling this energy from Pluto at 18 going direct on Sunday, and then the energy of Libra opposing. So yeah, I'm not going to kid you. Men are probably going to have a hard time right now. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, because it is very serious, and quite honestly, I have my own stories about it. But it is a time, a moment in time, and it's a moment in time whose time has come. So we are seeing that a lot right now, all this male-female energy, and how are we going to integrate living together and respecting each other in society. I have Venus in Leo, and my love language is attention. I need attention, and I want to know that I'm affecting people and that they appreciate what I do. So kudos and things like that are really important. I mean, I like presence, but more knowing that I'm appreciated is my number one love language, I would say. So Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, that's a water element, and that is cuddliness. Any of the water signs would probably, well, maybe I'm not so sure about Cancer. I know Cancer is supposed to, but maybe not always. I have to think about that. Sometimes Cancers can be a little bit standoffish if they're upset, and that can be prickly. So, just take into consideration the other planets if you know someone with Venus in Cancer. Venus in Scorpio also, they really want to connect. They want to merge with the person. They really want to get to know you, want to find out your psychology. And the way, oh, sorry, Juliet, could you grab that? It's over here plugged in. I can't reach it. They want to understand the psychology of where you're coming from, so they want to delve into your psyche a lot, and so then, that would be a way to earn their trust. They want trust as a key thing. And then I'm not gonna give every sign for this. I'm just gonna use those as examples. But then I'm going to jump over to Mars, and Mars is how we have our drive in this life. It's how we see sex and how we integrate our actions, what we do to take action in this life. And so Mars is pretty significant in relationships and in romance, because it tells if someone's going to be giving their best, if they're going to be responsible, if they're going to follow through, if they're going to be playful or even insincere. We can find it out through the Mars. And then the very last thing I would look at, besides all the houses that associate with those, the second house for love, the house of home and family, the house of marriage and partnership, would be to look at Saturn. Saturn is where we have our life purpose, and that is highly important in relationships. If you are at cross purposes in your life purpose, it's going to be really difficult for the long haul, because it means that your partner isn't supporting your life on earth for your purpose. And that's kind of the whole reason astrologically why you're here is to fulfill that life purpose. So that means that people who are 7 years apart are going to have a little bit more difficult time. 14 years apart, while it's in opposition, can be cooperative on some level, so that one person takes care of one side of things and the other one takes care of the other side. As long as you understand that each person has their realm and you don't try to make them into what you think yours should be and make them into your side of it. So everybody has their corner, so to speak, and they take care of that, and it works as a whole. And then also someone who would be 21 years apart, and I know there are people who are like this. 21 years is a difficult aspect, because it's also a square. If you look at it 3/4 of the way around the zodiac, the planets square each other. So that's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be at cross purposes. So anyway, I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into relationships. And as far as the Pluto direct, I'll probably talk about that this coming show next week.
Okay, let's see if we can take it now. 623. Hi, 623. How are you? Are you there?
Hello?
Okay, I still can't. Oh, there you are. I was beginning to think I was out
Hello?
here in the ether somewhere. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Bless. Oh, yay. Okay, wonderful. Who am I talking to?
My name's Chris.
Chris, wonderful. Nice to talk to you. Do you want to give me your birth information, and then I can hear what you want to talk about?
Sure. August 16th, 1970.
Okay.
3:40
And what time?
p.m.
Okay. 3:40 you said.
p.m.
Got it. Yeah. And where at?
Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah. Have you heard the show at all
Yes.
today? Okay. You heard it coming across today.
Oh, today? No. Today I didn't. It was silent.
Oh my goodness. I am so frustrated with Blog Talk. This is like the third time. It's not recording me. Yeah, well, it's okay for you, but unfortunately, all the information I've given, and it was really good and thorough, is missing now. So that's really not good for someone who wants to get that out there. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Oh, well, okay, so I guess I'll have to re-record that. Anyway, at least we have a show from here on. So what can I do for you?
Talking about love.
Love, love, love. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that's the area we are going to talk about today anyway. And it's good because I didn't really get to that. I got to most of the planets on the early part, but not that. So we'll re-record it. Anyway, you've got right now transiting is Venus in Scorpio, and it just went over your natal Jupiter at 0 Scorpio, and now it is in your house of connectedness to people from work or work groups or people in your soul purpose. So it's like your soul group or friends that you share interest in or interests with. So that's the area right now that you're going to see more connectivity. It's more of a friendship energy as opposed to a romantic energy. For you also, Uranus is about to move into your house of romance, creativity, and children. And it did already get really close to the cusp of your family and romance houses, but then it retrograded. So until next year, and let me just look it up for you real quick here. Yeah, next year in March, I believe, it gets back in March 7th. It's into... Well, it's direct again back into Taurus, and then let me see 5 degrees. Let's see if he even gets to 5 degrees next year in June. So next summer, it's really going to be triggering that strong attraction that other people have to you. And Uranus energy is really good for being charismatic, and people are kind of like, oh, she's got something. I don't know what it is. It's just like she just lights up the room when she comes in it. You'll see that a lot more people will be coming your way next year in June because of that energy in your house of romance. And you'll have probably some changes around friendships and romance, and unusual or eclectic people can come into your realm at that time. So it's kind of cool. It's a more intellectual energy, but it can also be a thoughtful energy around love and romance, because Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is about tradition in romance, and then Uranus is about eccentricity. So what happens is we kind of have this odd twist on tradition coming in for that, and for romance for you.
Okay.
And then
What about my current relationship?
Your current relationship, how long is it? Is it a marriage or a romance?
Marriage. 10 years.
Okay, so I don't see anything specifically in your house of marriage, but there are oppositions to it. And so your house of marriage is Gemini, 19 Gemini with some Cancer. Not very well, actually, I take it back. You have 27 degrees of Cancer, which are 0 to 27 in your house of home and marriage, And opposite that is Saturn at 2 degrees Capricorn. So what's going on for you is you are reevaluating the structure that supports you in your life, and it opposes your house of marriage. So you're kind of changing who you are and what you want, and that can affect your marriage. Could you tell me your partner's sun sign?
He's a Leo.
Leo? Okay. So yeah, that falls in your house of commitment. And that's also, just tell me his birthday real quick. We'll do a chart for him too.
August 9th, 1969.
Okay. And so you're both Leo, right? Yeah. Where was he born? Or if you know the time, you can give it to me, but I'll just do a sunrise if not.
I don't know. It was in Michigan, but I don't know what city.
Okay. All right. I'll just do Dearborn also. Then that kind of.
Well, he would have been born on the west side of Michigan.
Oh, okay. So more. Well, I don't know. Grand Rapids is the only place I know on that part, and then maybe
you could do Kalamazoo.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of close too. Kalamazoo. Yeah. Okay, good. We'll just do that. And, okay, change the time zone and change the date. Let me put his date in again. It has a quirk in my program. It deletes the date if you change where the city is. So it's like, why are you doing this to me? Hang on. I'm going to put this in again. There we go. All right. So let's see. Oh, hang on. Why? Mercury is really testing my patience today. I'm sorry. What I did was I created a chart for him, but I forgot to change the title, and it replaced the chart of his with yours. So I'm just going to really quickly do another chart for you. I think I've still got your information. So on your other one, I apologize. Today is just being a little bit of a difficult day astrologically, and I was saying that with everything going on with Mercury in conjunct to Uranus and then squaring Saturn, all this stuff is going on right now that's kind of making it a bit difficult for Mercury in communications and things like that. So, okay, almost done. Give me a second. Yes, insert that. There we go. Okay. And one more quick thing. I actually have to change on here to keep you guys clear and perfect. There we go. Heavy sigh. Okay, so let's just do a quick chart with the two of you together and see what's going on there. Okay, so he's got Uranus and Jupiter conjunct in his chart, which is a really strong energy around freedom and freedom within the relationship. And let me just see where he falls. I have all these charts all over the place now. I apologize. This is not how I like things to go. There we go. Okay. And thanks for your patience for waiting through silence, too, on the show. Like,
no problem.
Where is she?
No problem.
Anyway, okay, so he's got some okay, so his house of commitment, which is the house just after marriage. So there's marriage, which is, oh, I'm attracted to this person. I like her. I want to be with her. Then planets go into the house of commitment, which is the Scorpio house, and now they're like, okay, this is very much what I want, blah, blah, blah. Neptune, the planet of embracing everybody, like universal love, but also it can be indecision. And it is, wherever the slower moving planets are, is a transformational placement. So right now, Neptune just in the last year went into his house of commitment. And that's by a sunrise chart. That's what I did for him, is a sunrise chart. So it means that there's a shift around the ideals. And I want to tell you right now, Neptune is getting close to, before I say it, I was having nothing recorded, but I was talking about things, and I kept misinterpreting the date of transitions. So I guess I'm glad that didn't record, because I kept eyeing it wrong. But let's see, it's retrograde direct. Okay, there it is. It goes direct on the 25th of November. So we're about 2 months away. But what happens is Neptune in the house of commitment means that there are ideals, and then when Neptune retrogrades, it's like you wake up out of a fog and you go, oh, I can't handle that. And so that's kind of the energy that is with him now. It was in the marriage, but now it's in commitment. So for a marriage, it can mean that, well, when it's in the marriage house, you can go back and forth and be wishy-washy, because the house of marriage is Libra. It's like, oh, I don't like that, but I'll endure, and it's okay. Oh, it's okay. Like when it's retrograde, Neptune will make us feel more aware of how things are not quite the way we want them. And then when Neptune goes direct, it's like, oh, everything's good. I love you. I love you no matter what. And so there's this back and forth. And it's more of an idea of how you feel. But when Neptune goes into the house that's ruled by Scorpio, it can be much more emotional and tangible. So when things go wrong, it's like it's magnified, and you feel more discontent and more concern. And that's kind of where Neptune is for his chart right now. It's starting to awaken that he might be feeling that it's not the ideal anymore, or it might not be giving him what he wants. And then for you, let's see what's going on for you. Well, his moon is in your house of home and family. Or I always say that. it's in Cancer, which is the sign of home and family, but it's in your house of marriage. And so Moon, Venus conjunct in your marriage house means that there's a really strong family connection, like you feel like he's family. You feel familiar with him, or that's a familiarity. But his Saturn is in Taurus, and Uranus has gone into Taurus and will briefly go back into Aries, which is the house of home and family, and then go back forward into Taurus. And that means that there is a shift coming around his life purpose and around the romantic side of your relationship, and also children. So I'm not sure if you've started, like how old your children are, if you have children, that they may be transitioning out of the family or the family home.
Yeah, they're adults.
Okay. Well, there's a shift around the children going on, but you both have your life purpose is in similar areas, but he's entered into his Saturn's at early degrees of Taurus, which is the life purpose sign. His Saturn's in Taurus. So it's about money. It's about growth. It can be about food. It can be about nurturing something or growing something. It could be finances, the financial market, or something in business. And you both have that connection because you both have Saturn and Taurus, but your Saturn and Taurus is later degrees, which may mean that you're not necessarily as beholden to the financial situation being very stagnant. You're starting to understand that there's a shift and change that can be coming. And he's kind of getting hit with this. For an early degree Saturn in Taurus, it's more like, wow, that's really jarring to think that things might not be stable. But for a late degree Saturn in Taurus, you're kind of open to flexibility more, and that things can change for you, and that's okay. And it's a very creative energy, but he's not as willing to be creative and shift. But his chart is really showing that he's going through this growth with career, and there's going to be possible opportunity to move. Right now, Uranus retrograde is triggering some old ideas around wanting to be free, to be who he is, and to be more expansive and understand other cultures or go farther away. Like Uranus in his house of Sagittarius, which that's the natural ruler of the ninth house, they're both about freedom, and it's about not being told what to do. And Uranus was in Aries for a while, and it was all about male energy, and there may have been some aggressive or assertive energy coming in that vein. In his life, he's either expressing it or having it happen to him. And so when Uranus went into Taurus, it's a feminine energy. It's, much more embracing and receptive. That was coming in, and it may have made him feel a little bit more optimistic about things, but now Uranus is retrograde, and it's triggering some of those old doubts maybe, or sense that he doesn't feel confident in his own power in some sense. And it's about education and growth and spirituality too. So he's going through a lot of transition right now around personal growth and his career. And so I'm not sure if that's affecting you yet, or if that has something to do with what you're feeling.
No, but can you tell that it's been rocky for a long time between us?
Let me just look real close. The friction between you isn't specifically in your marriage or the commitment. It's more about a sense that there's a discontent with status quo. And I'm just trying to see how, I'm looking at what's going on in his chart. Let me look at what's going on with yours. I can tell you definitely anybody with the Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, or Libra energy in their house of marriage or commitment have felt something. And I'll tell you why, because Cancer, the four signs are squaring each other. And in the last few years, there's been a very strong direct hit between Uranus and Pluto squaring with Aries and, Uranus was in Aries and Pluto and Capricorn. So there has been a lot of friction from the planetary squaring of Cancer, which is in your house of marriage and partnership and commitment. So that alone would have been a hit to that marriage, but there aren't any direct transits over that other than when Mars was there probably a few years ago. It hit, or not a few years, excuse me, a few months ago. So I'm sorry. I'm a little stressed out right now just because of, the communication side of this show. You both have a lot of energy in Libra and Virgo, and I can tell you right now with Pluto and Capricorn, that's being triggered. And then, like I said, Cancer was triggered a couple years ago, and so there was a lot of friction directly in commitment, but now it's moving into more moving on. And that means that there's a strong possibility for your husband that he's going to get an opportunity far away, that he's got some kind of new venture that can come into his life, that it can open him up to some new opportunity that may actually bring him to another place. Because Uranus at the midheaven moving into a new house, it's a very strong point. It's not only, even if he didn't have Saturn there, it would be a shift around career, but he does have Saturn there. So not only is it going to be an opportunity, but it's also like a chance for him to work on his own if he doesn't already. Does he work for himself?
Yeah. No, he doesn't.
Okay, well, he's going to have some potential to do that. For where?
Okay. He works for the state, not in Michigan, though, on the West Coast.
Oh, okay. So he works far away from you, where you live together still, or no?
No. Yeah, we work together still. We're both on the west side of the country.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely some shifting going on with his career. And then for you, that's going on in your house, the home and family. What?
Can you tell me about this Scorpio person who entered my life?
Yeah. What would you like to know? Do you want me to do?
I don't know. I'm a little confused.
Is there a real person, or you're talking about what I said?
No, it's a real person.
Oh, okay. Because when I started talking about Venus and Jupiter in your house of friends and associates from career. Okay, I didn't know there was a real person that had already come in. That's amazing. Well, I can tell you it can heat up.
Maybe not.
Well, Sun and Mercury are both in Libra right now, but within a month they'll both be in Scorpio. And that's going to definitely heat up Scorpio energy because, obviously if that person's a Scorpio, they're going to have a birthday. They're going to be kind of in the spotlight. And that's what happens when we have a solar return is it's kind of like the spotlight shining on us. Like, hey, you're here and in the spotlight. Everyone's paying attention to you. So, and then Venus there right now. So she's going to be there. Let's just see how long she'll be in Scorpio. She moves into Sagittarius next year. She's going to be in, because she's retrograding, she'll be back in Libra. Then she'll go direct in Scorpio. So she'll be in Scorpio twice. The first time is right now, and then in December, all of December. So there's going to be more opportunity in December for some connection to this person. What are you looking to find out?
I don't know. I just don't know what, it's a friendship, and it's...
Is it work-related or career-related?
It is.
Someone you met through career? Yeah, that's what the Scorpio in your chart is. So there is a strong possibility for expansion, and remember that Jupiter is transition and transformation, and right now Jupiter is in your house of associates from work, and Venus is coming up on it. So let me see if she even gets there before she retrogrades. I don't know why. This Mercury out of bounds, which I wasn't recorded when I was talking about it, but Mercury out of bounds is past the sun, which means Mercury is not necessarily answering to any normal structure of things and can go off and do its own thing, which in Libra means that it is going to be, I can go over here and do this romantically, or I'm thinking about it, or whatever. But when Mercury and Sun get into Scorpio, then it's more about the commitment, not just the idea. So that's coming. Let me see here. Venus, Jupiter. Scorpio. I think, Jupiter gets into Sagittarius before they join up.
I guess what I'm wondering with this Scorpio is the purpose.
Okay, what the purpose is. Passion and idealized love.
Okay.
This is really interesting in your chart. You have Jupiter at 0 degrees Scorpio. So Jupiter just got into Scorpio and so is expanding that energy, and it's at work. And Jupiter is flirtatious and doesn't always, the energy of Jupiter can be non-committal and like sex for sex. And then at the end degrees of Scorpio, you have Neptune in the 12th house, which is, I may have been flirtatious, or I may have dabbled in the idea of an affair or done an affair or something like that, but by the time the planets get to Neptune, it becomes like really real. And which is ironic because Neptune's about illusion. But Neptune at end degrees of Scorpio, getting ready to go into Sagittarius, is really that your idea of romantic love, or your vision of what is titillating or interesting or a deepest desire, is about universal love and about a culmination of two people merging. And it's direct, so there is a certain amount of idealism associated with it. So like you can idealize that person and feel like they're just the perfect person sexually and romantically and emotionally. And Jupiter on your Neptune is actually helping you manifest your biggest dreams. That's what Jupiter is going to do. It's hitting your Neptune and it's like, wow, all bets are off. This is like perfect romantic love. And the only thing I see with that for you is that when Jupiter goes into Sagittarius, it means that now that person may be far away and you can't necessarily stay with that person in the same carnation. In other words, the way it is when it flowers and blooms and is something that's interesting will shift and transform into something that is almost like it can't be culminated with this romance, and now it's going to transform into the next thing, which is Sagittarius and Sagittarian in nature, which is a spiritual transformation. So I would say, especially being Jupiter seeks spiritual transformation. That's really a big part of what this person is for you in this life, is to trigger some other deeper desire that you're externalizing. And Neptune at the first degree of your house of the subconscious, of spirit, of wise choice or wisdom, and the sage, which is Pisces, the 12th. And you have Scorpio at 27 ruling your 12th house with 19 degrees of Sagittarius there. So it's about 24 degrees of energy, and Neptune's at the very beginning of it. And Jupiter will hit it when it goes to 28 Scorpio, which I will tell you when that is. It's November 1st. So all of November, you're really going to be in this transformational mindset. And it has to do with spirituality, has to do with dreams coming true, and it is very esoteric. It's around travel to another mindset, travel to another mental space, and embracing the deepest emotions you've ever felt in your life. And like the merging of an individual is truly what it's about. It's like merging yourself with another human being and where you can go in that transformation. So it's pretty intense. It's not a light thing. It's very encompassing and transformative. Those are the two words I would associate with whatever this. If it's him or if it's another person that's Scorpio, that's what Scorpio is doing for you. It's transforming you into like a spiritual universal love of complete blending of yourself with another human being. And what does that mean? How does that feel? You know, you're really, have anything in the zodiac short of like 28, 29 degrees Pisces Neptune, late degree water sign Neptunes are extremely immersive and about transformation. So that's what it is. It's expansion around transformation, spirituality, and even having someone move to another place, which may mean you also have to move, but you have to move more so spiritually in your chart. It's about spiritual movement. He is shaking you up to your core to really connect to spirit. That's what it's about. And your value.
Okay.
And your value. I want to tell you also, because it is about value, Scorpio is also about how others perceive our value and reflecting back to us, do we feel valuable to other people? And Neptune at 28 Scorpio is about value. But I would also caution you, which I always do, you have a 23-degree Leo Sun and a 28 Neptune in Scorpio, which is an aspect of planets, and it doesn't necessarily matter what planets. I noticed that it doesn't, but those degrees can bring about someone who is fraudulent. So I would highly recommend caution about anyone you would meet that you haven't known for a while when those are triggered, because Jupiter will be squaring within 2 degrees right now your natal sun. And that means you could be taken, and especially with Neptune, it means that you're willing to trust someone who may not be trustworthy. And I would recommend that it's going to be that feeling of, wow, this person is amazing and like totally what is a reflection of me, but it can also may mean that you're fooling yourself on some level, and that's the transformation. Okay?
Okay.
So just be super cautious right now about integrity.
Yeah.
And that's what Scorpio also rules, integrity. Like, does this person have integrity? Are they coming from the same place you are? Okay?
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for holding on, having patience.
No problem. All right, well, wonderful. And hopefully I'll get to call in again and talk to you some more about other things.
Yes, thanks so much. All right. Bye, Chris.
All right, thank you. Have a good day. All right,
bye. Real
bye.
quick, were you in the chat room? Hello? Chris? Okay, she hung up. Okay, I do have a couple people in the chat room, and I'm going to read Spread the Light real quick here now because the show is over, and I do actually have a reading at 12:30, so I don't have a lot of time, and I am just going to really quick set this up. Oh, have mercy. Today has been such a difficult day for the show. I don't know why I'm having this. Well, I do know why, because I'm an astrologer, but rhetorically. Okay, January 22nd, 1985, and Spread the Light if you are here. Let's see. Will I be able to hear you after the podcast? No sound. I don't know. Oh, I have 2 readings, but I'm not going to be able to get to both because it's the end of the show. And like I said, I have another reading, and my daughter will be walking through that door in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to really do Spread the Light. And let's see, Southampton. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal's going to try back next time. So thank you, Crystal, for having patience. I apologize. Southampton, New York. Okay, there we go. And save. Okay, so let's see what Spread the Light's doing. She's January 22nd, 1985 at, I'll see if I got the time right, 4:21. Nope, that wasn't the right one. There we go, 4:21 p.m. Okay, so I don't really know what you want to find out about, so I'm just going to do a real quick eyeball. She's got a 27-degree Cancer rising. I assume it's a woman. So 27-degree Cancer rising, and Mars is at 3 Aquarius on her 2-degree Aquarius sun, and it's in the house of marriage and partnership. So it is eccentricity or unusual events coming in. And I would say there may be some frustration. Again, Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius, is squaring, and it's career. So there's something going on with moving around freedom in your career that is potentially at odds or having friction with a partner. You have Pluto right between your Mercury and your Jupiter and your house of work. So again, that is also a sense that you've been taking too much responsibility at work for other people and for other situations, and you are really frustrated and burnt. You also have Saturn directly on your Neptune at 2 degrees, and Vesta is there as well. So it's a cluster of your natal Neptune, Saturn in the sky, and Vesta in the sky. And so they are right there. There's a female, I would say, who is really pushing your limits, but also the reason that that person is stressing you out is because they're trying to get you to take ownership of your dream. And your dream is Neptune. Neptune for you is Capricorn. So yeah, so the dream is right. Well, I was just looking at it dead on. Why did I not register it? Anyway, your dream is about having your own authority within the workplace and the structure of the systems and organization of what you do for a living. And so really what's happening is you're having to take ownership of your dream right now in your work environment. And in health, if it has to do with health, it's also joints and bones. And it's time to take ownership of it. Are you having events happen that you feel like you have no control over? It's because you're trying to control too much. So definitely learn how to let it go. And in the work environment, in health and learning and teaching, you have to let go of things you can't control. That is the major lesson right now. You also have Jupiter within 5 degrees of your Saturn expanding, and by the end of the year, by November, you're going to have Jupiter right on your Saturn, which means that you have fortune coming in. It's going to work out, and you are trying to create something new and meaningful in your life, and that's what you want to do. Transiting Neptune is within 5 degrees of, within 2 degrees of transiting out of your house of commitment into travel. And also in the next few years, we'll be going on to your Venus-Mars conjunction in the house of travel. So there is some growth and spiritual shifting for you as well coming up, and that's really big. So if you want a private reading, please get me at angeliczodiac.com. You can also book on Facebook, and thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I'll re-record the beginning of the show so that you can hear me, and maybe you can get more information that I wasn't able to record before. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful week, and please check in next week, and we shall see you later. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.